Okay, so tonight we are making ramen with tofu, which is the first time I've ever tried this. And I was inspired by Selena and Chef Gomez's, her TV show, which Betsy and I have been binge watching now, which is cool because it's a fun thing to do as a couple. And in her recipe, they didn't do tofu, so this is actually inspired by her her recipe. And so tonight, Betsy would ideally like to have a meatless meal more often than not, and I try to oblige. So we try to have tofu at least once a night, and actually something that she tends to cook lately. And one of the things we always do with our tofu, it's up for debate whether or not it actually helps, is to use a tofu press to get the water out. So it helps to quicken, speeds up the browning process, because we usually brown our tofu. And what I'm going to do is make a spicy tofu, at least attempt to, that I'm going to fry in the air fryer. It just works out well in the air fryer. Less mess too, instead of sauteing it in a pan. And so to the tofu press, I love my gadgets, but I also try to be a minimalist as much as possible with my gadgets. If it's something that's totally not going to work or is just bullshit as opposed to something helpful, I will not get it or stop using it. People say, oh, well, you can put a bunch of weights on top of tofu to help press it down. That's true. And Lord knows I have plenty of weights, kettlebells being the perfect thing for it. But a tofu press is so much easier, and I highly recommend it. I don't think this company exists anymore. It's called tofupresser.com. I bought it years ago. There you can find the stuff on Amazon. I think it's worth it. It's sanitary, as opposed to rigging up something with a kettlebell and dragging that out of the garage. But what I do is get it pretty tight, well, fairly tight, and let the press do its work. I love these mini bowls. And actually, a lot of times what I'll do is it conveniently fits just like that in the tray. So the water will drip down into it, won't fall really down here. Gravity will bring it down. So, helpful hint. Now it's been a while since I totally forgot. So later on, I'm going to be boiling water and putting the ramen noodles in it. Sweating a onion, some shiitake mushrooms, and I got some Shanghai cabbage, or baby bok choy. Technically not baby bok choy. I actually like the Shanghai tips. That's actually what they call it. And that'll come up next. When I come back, it'll probably be dark, and I'll try to get a little workout in before I start cooking, and see you guys back in a little bit. Okay, so I am going to, since the soy tofu is dry now, I'm going to cut it up and marinate it for a little bit. The thing about tofu is it has no taste, and it doesn't readily absorb that much flavor, in my opinion. Hold on, rinse this out. And so I think it's a great idea to just go heavy on stronger flavors, spicy flavors. So what I'm going to do is try and make a miso paste marinade with soy and a bit of sriracha to kind of kick it up a little bit, because this stuff is bland. And I'm going to air fry it mainly to get some texture in it. Depending whether or not I should just we'll do like mini rectangles. And this stuff is really dry now. I like firm when you're cooking, sauteing it, or handling it at all, because otherwise anything less than firm is going to completely fall apart. So what I'm going to do, what I usually would have done is in one bowl. I'll just make this in here. All right, slide this aside. I'm going to go do some cutting up that onion in a minute. Good Lord. Need some ninja power in there. I've actually never bought miso, so this is all new to me. Gonna take a little miso. Take some soy sauce that I've customized. Again, I don't like to measure. I have an idea what stuff tastes like and how much it requires. And like I said, go heavy on spicy stuff because tofu is boring. Trying to get this as even as possible down here. Oh, sorry. As even as possible down here on the plate so it can absorb it. You know, I was recently reading about the efficacy of actually drying or pressing out the moisture out of tofu. According to what I read, it didn't really help, but in my experience, I think it does help because this stuff is really, really dry. And how much water we got out? You know, I'd say, let's be scientific about this. Out of a 16-ounce thing of tofu, I squeezed out 2 ounces of water, or a quarter cup of water. So, this miso paste does not really want to blend. Kind of just mashing it up. It's almost like the consistency of peanut butter. It's almost like the consistency of peanut butter. And I'll put this, I'm actually going to leave this out on the counter to dry because I'm going to toss it in the air fryer to keep it warm so it's cooks a little bit faster. And yeah, so that said, I'm going to go and cut up some onions and cut up the shiitake mushrooms and get that in ready for mise en place so I can make the ramen. I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so I'm waiting for Betsy to get home. What I'm going to do is get the broth ready. And since I've been away from the camera, I've done my mise en place. I've got my Shanghai tips cut, cilantro cut. This is still continuing to marinate. I'm going to put this in at the last minute, last 10 minutes. Onions. So I'm going to go saute some onions, the mushrooms, in some miso paste and sesame oil. And then I'm going to start to make the broth. And after you get all that caramelization with the onions and the sauteed shiitake mushrooms, which would be great, and that miso paste infused in it and with some sriracha in it to spice it up some, that's the base for your broth. And I might add a little bit of soy milk or Greek yogurt actually to thicken it. I was trying to find some tahini. The original recipe called for some tahini, but I couldn't find any at the Asian market. You know, I'll probably have to go get some next time at the Mediterranean cafe or bakery. Anyway, so what I'm going to start to do now is saute the stuff. So I'm going to pause the camera and move the camera over so you can watch me saute it. So this, you might be able to hear, it might be annoying, I apologize for that, but the screeching noise is the induction cooktop heating up. And I love induction, especially if you're trying to boil water, because, and actually speaking of water, I have a little bit of water in there. So put about 2 tablespoons in here, get it in the bottom. Using induction is the most energy efficient means of heating up anything. Metal, that is, ferrous. And it can boil water in, I would say, a third of the time. That's one of the reasons why I don't eat a lot of pasta anymore. But whenever I have to boil water, I always do it on induction. And apropos of nothing, something really handy to have around, go to the dollar store or $2 store and get cheap tongs and have them all around the house, all around the kitchen. One by the stove top, one by the toaster. It's just really handy to have. So this is starting to shimmer. Hopefully some of that water will boil off. Love me some sesame oil. So this is going to give you a lot of flavor on top of sauteing stuff. You needed to crank that up to 10. I had it on 5.5. And so sequence of operation, you're going to cook the onions first because that takes the longest. I'm not going to salt very much stuff because I'm trying to watch my sodium. That's one whole white onion. I'll add the miso paste after the mushrooms are sauteed. Let these sweat a little bit more. Of course, I have a spoon rest, but I don't use it. Whatever. 8 teaspoons of this. It's going to take 8 cups of water, which half of which I've got ready. Ooh, see, it's heating up quite nicely. Betsy's going to walk in and she's going to say, "What? It smells so good." Okay, let this sweat a little bit longer, and then I'll put the mushrooms in. I personally like to clean up as I work. That way I don't have a lot of crap to clean up when I'm done. So hopefully this angle is pretty good so you can see everything. And I'm also going to cook an egg in a egg cooker, which I love because it makes eggs convenient. You don't have to watch it. No, hardly any water to measure. And then B, it makes the shell peel off immediately. No, you don't need any special tricks or anything like that. It just comes right off. Oh, I think I need some more oil because this is not so much sauteing as it's kind of burning. Ooh. The mushrooms are absorbing. There they go. I'll let this cook down. Okay, we're back, and I got this stuff sauteed, and I'm a little congested, but it smells pretty friggin' good. I'm gonna add 8 tablespoons, or half a cup, of tahini. Like I said, this stuff's like peanut butter. That's 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Reduce the heat a little bit and get a little bit more. There we go. All right, pour half a cup of water. And more water. The wife is home now. All right, 8 cups.
Oh, Christmas cards are here. Oh my goodness, what a nice surprise!
And you walked in on the cooking show.
I'm sorry.
No, no,
Mess it up.
no.
I'm sorry. Well, at least it would have been great for your viewers to hear someone say, "Oh, what a nice surprise!"
Well, they are.
You want me to reenact?
No, because that's what I said you would say exactly, and you just said it on camera. Yeah, no, not right now. You're off camera. And now,
Did you really get that on camera?
I got it all on camera. You're off camera, but you can hear it.
Aw.
2 tablespoons, make it spicy.
That's awesome. Let me see. Oh my God, what a
Bring
nice
it
treat.
to a boil.
My Friday deadline got pushed up till Thursday, so that's...
Okay, so this is done boiling, and that's good. I'm going to start cooking I'm going to turn that off right now. I'm going to start making the air fried stuff, and I'm cooking the egg. If you can see it boiling over there, 1 egg for me. The last minute, I'm going to toss in this Shanghai tips because it'll cook really fast, and we should be good. In fact, yeah, this. I tasted this. Add a little bit of salt, but otherwise the miso took care of the salt. Parchment paper. You can see it from there. And again, handy tongs. Separate these things so they can get a little bit of air around them. They're very dry. This really absorbed all of the marinade. It's all about surface area when it comes to air frying. Hopefully you can hear me over the induction. There it goes. That's the only downside. It is a little noisy, but it is so energy efficient and, more importantly, insanely fast. Kind of laying these out. I'm gonna cook these 10 minutes at 400. I like my air fryer. It's heats evenly. This is my 3rd air fryer, and took me 3 air fryers to get the perfect one. Kosori is the bomb. I'm gonna rearrange the stuff a little more. Yeah, so as far as greens, you can pick whatever green you want to put in your ramen. Dealer's choice. I even considered broccoli, but since I was at the Asian market, I love Shanghai tips. And I think I kind of like chunky veggies in your ramen, just kind of give you that tactile feeling. You know, that change in texture. So yeah, the egg is cooking, and I'm just gonna go pop these in the air fryer for 10 minutes, and then we'll probably eat in a few. On a side note, I just put the tofu in the air fryer, and I've resisted buying canola spray oil for a long time, and have tried 2 generations of the misto, and this thing sucks. I mean, I guess it's good for like olive oil if you're trying to spray it on your salad or something, which we don't do. But yeah, this thing sucks. Just go ahead and suck it up and put propellants in the air, and get the canola spray. And I just spray the top of the tofu with this just to try to crisp it up. Anyway, hopefully it should be done in 10 minutes. So I have a couple more minutes left on the air fryer. Went ahead and started the broth back up and tossed in the Shanghai tips. Hopefully you can see that in there. It looks beautiful. And I'm gonna let that go for another minute and let it sit. And then I'm gonna start plating it up. It looks like the egg is done. I'll rinse this off in cold water and start plating it up. Okay, the last little bit. Egg is cut. Egg is done. I'm going to add that. This is going to be really, really good. I'm going to cut up an avocado. And I like to use, the reason why I'm demonstrating this is because I like to use this tool that some people ridicule me for, but it's friggin' awesome. You ready to eat in a few minutes?
Smells delicious.
Okay. Okay, so that is going to be garnish. Ooh, that egg is perfect. Ready to eat? Are you ready to eat?
Bon appetit, I say.
Okay, all right, let's do this. Let's plate it up. Okay. Isn't it pretty?
Oh, it's gorgeous. It smells so good. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Okay, that is beautiful. You gonna eat an egg if I put it in it?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's a beautiful egg.
Avocado
Oh.
and cilantro. And voila. Oh, so I forgot to add the beautifully fried tofu. Now, is that a meal or what, babe?
That is awesome. I can't
Okay.
thank you enough.
Oh,
What a
yeah.
perfect night for it.
That looks delicious. Okay.